Hello, my name is Kyle Sinclair, and this will be the final video in this series of the different types of texture maps that you will be using in a game engine. As for a more detailed video on light mapping, I'm gonna post an external link, and it'll be using 3ds Max to do it, but the same concept still applies to any 3D package. So now I'm going to go over reflective map, and it's basically a map that will reflect the surrounding area. So since I don't have any map around my mesh, I need to import my own image and use that image to be reflected off the metal. So under my content browser, under actor classes, under uncategorized, there's a scene capture cube map actor, and that will capture my surrounding environment. However, like I said, I don't have a surrounding environment, so I'm gonna import this image here. I've already imported it. It's just a simple 2D image that I found off Google, and what I'm going to be doing is making a cube map for it, and it's going to reflect a certain area. Now this certain area is my blue channel in my mask that I've just recently created, and all the white area is essentially what it's going to reflect with the image. And this is just under the same texture that I was using my opacity and my emissive texture in. So I've already re-imported the texture. I got my image that I want to reflect off of for the cube map, and I'm going to go into new under the content browser, and I'm going to, under the factory here, I'm going to select texture cube, and I'm going to name it plate underscore cube. Okay. Nope. And the reason why I just said that is because it was named the same as my image. So now we have this menu here. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to select our 2D texture of the sewer pipe here, and we're going to go under the face position, and we're going to hit all the arrows, and it'll pretty much produce that. And then we're going to close this out, and we're going to go into our material editor now, since we have our texture cube. Let's open this up. Alright, so since the last video I've changed a few things. My emissive is still the same. Actually, I turned down the brightness on the light a bit. I've added this constant value, which would be holding 1 and left click, and I plugged it into my specular power. And basically what that does is it changes the specular power. Basically, if you were doing wood, you'd want it around 10. For metals and whatnot, try and keep it 25 and higher, and that'll just pinch down the brightness. Now what we got going on here is, I'm just going to break this link here. We have our specular map plugged into a multiply, and this multiply is multiplying it by 5 times, and this multiply is being plugged into this add node, and this add node is being plugged into our specular. Now the reason why my texture just disappeared is because I'm missing my alpha input over the A input. So we're going to fix that by adding, first off, let's select our texture cube, hit T, if it pops up, there we go. Add our reflection vector. It's under the vectors menu here on the right side. We're going to plug this into our UVs. That's just basically saying we want that reflection to be plugged into the same UVs as the texture cube. So we put this in add, and then it'll add our texture cube with our reflection, and then our texture reappears as you've seen. Just trying to organize this here, and it's kind of hard to see because it's not like a pure reflection, but it does help. Every little bit of detail helps. If it was more reflective, like say you had a water surface or something like that, you definitely want a texture cube or a surrounding environment in it. Otherwise the water wouldn't look reflective at all, it would just be specular. So that's pretty much covers it. That's your reflection map. It's actually kind of bright. I'm just going to change this back into our material. Change this from 5 to, let's say, 2. There we go. Alright, and that pretty much covers it. There's 2 other maps that I won't be covering. I hardly ever use them. It's the displacement map, which is essentially a map that is a black and white map. The black tells the text or the mesh to go down, the white tells it to go up, and it's more used for terrain and other objects. Basically just to create some simple and fast terrain. If you've ever used a 3D package called Bryce, you know exactly what it does. And then there's also a sky map, which is essentially a huge sphere around your level that represents your sky. I won't be covering those, but feel free to go on Google and look it up. And this concludes the series. I hope you enjoyed watching and learned something. And this is our finished product here.